Hey everyone, welcome to 2019 and the 2019 Bassmaster Classic here at the Sportsman's Warehouse booth in Knoxville, Tennessee. Co-host Chris Brown with me. Chris, another year of the Progressive Bass Wrap-Up Show, another Bassmaster Classic, and a little different tone to this year's tournament. Tell us about it.
A little different tone. You've got 52 of the best competitors in the world out here on the water right now, but a few have what I've heard described as quote unquote retired from the Bassmaster Elite Series, moved on to another tour. So there's a little bit of, it's a little different feel this year, but the thing about it is we're going to crown a champion on Sunday no matter what. So it's fixing to happen.
What do you think, as an angler all your life, what do you think it's going to take on Fort Loudon Tellico to win this event? You're going to be 55 to 58 pounds, I would think. You know, we've talked to a few anglers, a few locals that are fishing this event that said they've seen this river this high, but they've never seen the flow like it's got right now. It's a lot of shoreline, a lot of folks. What we've seen today on some of the covers already, guys are stacked up. A lot of guys are fishing used water. A lot of things can happen. You want to get to your spot first. You want to catch them first. Today's going to be the day that you're going to catch them and catch them quick, load up those scales, and then try to play defense throughout the rest of the week. Tell you what, let's go ahead and pitch it out to Vance and see what's going on day one.
Folks, it's day one of the Bassmaster Classic. We're here in the media room, obviously in Knoxville, Tennessee, with all this orange here. Man, the fans were pumped and excited. They were waiting to get in out there. The anglers were excited. They were all over these lakes today. One of the cool things nowadays is we can sit here on Bass Live and watch the anglers as they compete. And they'll pull up the map and show you the maps where the guys are fishing. And then I can go to anglerschannel.com and pull up all these lake maps we have in our database and look at this creek arm right here that Kevin Van Dam spent a lot of time in today, and I can kind of get an idea why he spent time there today. Look at the color gradient there. That's very shallow water, big backwater classic pre-spawn place where they're just fixing to go to the beds here really soon, and it kind of gives me an idea of what he's thinking and why he spent a lot of time there today. So it's really awesome to use all this technology, what Bassmaster gives us, what you can find at anglerschannel.com, and just follow these events like a live sporting event nowadays. It's just really awesome.
I had a decent day, and you know, I caught what, you know, I kind of maximized what I had seen, so I feel like it went well. You know, I don't know how everyone else did, but I know that I'm not out of it. You know, this puts me in the game, and if I can stay in contention, that's my goals.
Got one big smallmouth.
Oh, we got smallmouth, folks. Those are going to be a difference maker this week.
And then one good largemouth.
Nicely done.
Was that smallmouth an incidental catch, or were you targeting smallmouth?
Well, Wednesday, I think I'm pretty sure it's the same fish. I shook it off Wednesday. I come back this morning, same flip, took off swimming.
Man, talk to me a little bit about how day one went.
Oh, it went. I mean, I just never got any big. I mean, I got 2 decent ones and 3 pretty good keepers, but I never got the big bite like I've been getting during practice. So water came up a little bit, I had to adjust, and I don't know what the big ones are doing now. So give it a go again tomorrow.
I don't know, tough conditions, post-frontal. It was just a really tough day out there. We ended up catching 5 somehow, some way, so that's good. And you know, need one of them big bags to get back in this thing.
They got to grow tomorrow.
They got to grow a lot.
Day one was good, man. I got about 14 pounds. Caught them all using my new MR6. I did catch one on a square bill, and then also original Bill Lewis rattle trap. Right now, the dominant color seems to be red, and you know they got a wide array of great red crankbaits as far as rattle trap goes, and I've just been winding.
And while bass track is fun to follow, it sometimes lies to us. Roy Hawk had an estimated 14 pounds, but he took the stage and dropped 17 plus to take a short-lived lead until Ott Defoe, who was also 3 pounds heavier than Bass Track had anticipated, took the day one lead with 20 pounds even.
The Progressive Bass Wrap-Up Show, brought to you by Sportsman's Warehouse, is sponsored by Ranger Boats, the leader in bass boats, by Mercury Marine, quality, performance, innovation, reliability, by Strike King Lures, more than 50 years of domination, and by Costa Del Mar, eyewear designed for anglers.
You ever wish you weren't a motor?
Sure. Sometimes I wish I had legs like you.
Yeah, is it like a regular person?
No. Still have bike half man. Just the opposite.
What's the legs on the bottom and motorcycle on the top? Yeah. Yeah, I can see that.
For those who were born to ride, there's Progressive.
From bass and walleye to crappie and the great outdoors, you deserve more than old school aluminum. Reward yourself with the quality, performance, and extra room in a Ranger aluminum design. Packed with features, these rigs carry an ultra-smooth, dry ride and stable platforms. Experience a Ranger aluminum boat today. It's built to excel and priced to be yours. Mercury, go boldly.
Whether day or night, I love to tie one on.
Every day of the week, I like to tie one on.
I don't care who's looking, I always tie one on.
Every time I go on the water, I love to tie one on.
You may not know this about me, but every once in a while, I've been known to tie one on.
Come on, man, join the Stray King team. All you gotta do, tie one on.
I think I always tie one on.
Folks, welcome to day 2 of the Bassmaster Classic, where day 1 leader, Ott Defoe, blasted off with after that 20-pound start yesterday. He's trying to back that up. Local favorite. I'm here with another local favorite, a man who's no stranger to world championships, Cup champion Brad Knight. We're here in your backyard, dude.
Yeah, absolutely. It's our 4th or 5th time covering a championship event, but this one's got a little bit of a special feel to it, especially for me. You know, we're on a lake that I grew up fishing my whole life. We're in my hometown in Knoxville, Tennessee. And man, is this going to go down as the greatest classic ever or what? We had almost 6,000 people at Blast Off yesterday. It's totally amazing. And we've got a little bit of a cool morning, but this is going to be an absolutely phenomenal tournament for these guys.
It is. It's going to be a fun tournament. A lot of power fishing. We see Jesse Wiggins over here slinging a red crankbait like everybody else. And, I mean, red crankbaits and white spinner baits. What else is there this week, Brad? What are we going to see tactic-wise here?
Well, this week's kind of a little bit of a throwback. We're kind of seeing some of those old-school spring, dirty water fishing tactics. We've had so much flooding and so much water running through the system that actually the lake that makes up the Tennessee River, Douglas and Cherokee, they held those lakes up. They're big, tall, highland reservoirs, so they can draw down 60, 70 feet in the wintertime. Well, the Tennessee River had so much water in it that they held those lakes up. Now that the Tennessee River is back down to normal levels, now they're dumping all of that cold water out of Douglas and Cherokee, and it's really got a lot of colored current running through the water. So it's kind of made it a little bit of a challenge for some of these guys, but it just kind of changes up the predictable normal tournaments that you're seeing.
Well, cold water's fine. Muddy water can be okay. Cold, muddy water is not good.
Well, I like seeing some of this dirty water because it comes into play for the way I like to fish and grow up in these style of lakes. You know, cranking is a big thing. You know, I grew up fishing not flat-sided, balsa, homemade crankbaits, and this is the perfect throwback to some of that stuff. Our waters have gotten a lot cleaner over the past few years, so it's been a long time since we've got to see some of these conditions that kind of play into our hand. I think that's why you're seeing the local guy like Ott Defoe really play into his hands. One X factor that's going to play this week, I'm thinking, as I've fished a lot of tournaments that I've seen 25 pounds of smallmouth weighed in, and they kind of live offshore on some of these places, but the heavy currents kind of got them pushed off of those places. They had to kind of get more towards the bank, so it's kind of mixed them up a little bit. But I'm going to predict that whoever wins this tournament is going to tap into that offshore smallmouth deal at least one day.
And I hear that the smallmouth, they're saying, are probably already spawning up on these flats because of where they're finding them out of the current and back in some of these shallower areas. Is that going to scatter the smallmouth, make it harder to target?
Well, I don't know necessarily we're going to talk about actual spawning smallmouth just yet, but we're talking about pre-spawn staging smallmouth they're kind of getting ganged up. Somewhere on this lake, I will guarantee you there's a 25-pound bag of smallmouth that are all piled in on a spot, whether it's a gravel bar or a point or something, that it's just all it's going to take is the person to run across it at the right time, and if they do, and it's going to be a game changer for them.
Well, Brad, I tell you what, we're here watching these guys use the latest and greatest technology and electronics and lures and whatnot. They've got all that down there at the big Bassmaster Classic Expo, and our man Jason Duran is canvassing the floor to bring us the hottest new products. Let's go see what he's found.
Well, guys, I found the trophies from last year. Jordan Lee has 2 of them, and this is what it's all about. Hoisting that trophy over your head at the end of this deal. They're all on the water competing for that today, but this is where everybody else is. This is the expo. It is packed today. We are walking and going to see the red carpet, because the red carpet is where you walk up and down these aisles. All these people are here. The buyers are here, the sellers are here, the fishermen are here. This is the time everybody's in one room together. If you're anybody in the sport, you need to be here at the expo today. Let's check back in with the guys.
One key I want to talk about what Ott's doing, he's throwing a crankbait on a spinning rod. And that's a big thing for guys in East Tennessee. We grew up fishing that way with homemade crankbaits that are made out of balsa wood. It's extremely light, and it just enables you to be a lot more efficient. You have a windy day like today, and it's cold. You can just make more casts, longer casts. And whenever we've been traveling around, you know, I've traveled Ott for a long time, and some of the guys from other areas, they really like to kind of poke fun at us for throwing a spinning rod with our crankbaits. But you get a day like today where you have a really strong north wind and you're having to make a long cast with a really light bait, whether it's a homemade balsa crankbait or a shad wrap style bait that's really super light. You can just be a lot more efficient. You don't have to worry about backlashing, or you can just make a longer cast and more of them. So at the end of the day, you're going to get a whole lot more casts, and it's just all about efficiency. It's able to put more fish in the boat, in my opinion, doing it that way. So it's something you just don't get to see a whole lot, but you got the day one leader of the Bassmaster Classic with that spinning rod in his hand cranking those crankbaits, so I like to see.
The Progressive Bass Wrap-Up Show, brought to you by Sportsman's Warehouse. This portion sponsored by TH Marine, Quality Marine Products, by Luz, Feel the Difference, and by ARE Truck Caps, Covers, and Accessories.
Excuse me. Do you mind being a motor?
What could be better than being a motor? The real question is, do you mind not being a motor?
I do. For those who were born to ride, there's Progressive.
From the dedicated, passionate anglers at G. Loomis, we bring you E6X. We know fishing and know how to make high-performance rods. Each E6X blank features multi-taper technology and action-matched high-grade cork handles, providing perfect balance and sensitivity. E6X belongs in your hand. Feel connected. For more information, visit gloomis.com.
You ever wish you weren't a motor?
Sure. Sometimes I wish I had legs like you.
Yeah, is it like a regular person?
No. Still have bike half man. Just the opposite.
What's it? Legs on the bottom and motorcycle on the top. Yeah. Yeah, I can see that.
For those who were born to ride, there's Progressive.
Welcome back, folks. Here in the Ranger Boats booth, my buddy Scott Arms, a.k.a. Spanky. Brother, pretty good crowd. How are boat sales?
Boats are good. You know, we're busy with our aluminum line, busy with our glass line. We've got 11 boats in the booth here. Also behind you, you'll see the pontoon boat.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of interest in that. We're going to have a new pontoon coming out in June or July that's going to rock the world, hopefully. But yeah, everything's good.
Anything new on the fiberglass stuff you can share right now?
I'll just say that by the middle of June, you will see some new fiberglass, and that's all I can say.
Okay. Let's look back to Vance and check on day 2 weigh-in.
It didn't happen. Caught 2. It's not the way I wanted to end my late career. Just didn't get it done, man. I fished the way I thought I had to fish to win, and I lost some yesterday and didn't have many big bites today. And the one big bite I did was 4 or 5 pounds. I jumped him off the second time he jumped, man. And it's nothing. I mean, it's like sad story same day. And I'm like, I did everything I could do, and then that was about noon, and I needed that momentum.
and I just couldn't get it back up under me. I caught some more fish, but I just never got more keeper bites.
It ended up being great, but it was definitely nerve-wracking. Wasn't necessarily going as planned most of the day, but we caught us a giant one today, got one over 6. And, you know, that makes up a big difference. And then last minute, with 10 minutes to go, caught a 4-pounder. So, I mean, you know, it's things like that that happen that allow you to win the Bassmasters Classic. And if nothing else, I put myself in position, and that's really all I can ask for.
Man, this morning was one of those magic spots, and you dream about having a morning like that. It was a place I had found in practice and never caught a big fish off it in practice. Caught a lot of 1 to 2 pound fish. My mindset running there this morning was just go in there and get a limit, weighed, you know, 7 to 9 pounds, and then go fish for smallmouth and try to catch some big ones. And, you know, my first two or three fish were all big ones, so some big ones moved in there.
Nice. And we talked about this being, you know, last classic for foreseeable future, and, buddy, you did what you had to do on day 2 to stretch it as long as you possibly can.
Yeah, you know, you want to be in the hunt on the last day. You want to be on this place, you want to be within 5 pounds or less of the lead, right? So hopefully I put myself there. It'll give me an opportunity on Sunday to try to win.
Hey, talk to me about lure selection this week. What worked for you?
The Thunder Cricket. You know, I just kind of glued it to my hand this afternoon. I had a really good afternoon. So that was the main deal. Thunder Cricket, blade metaphor trailer, white and chartreuse, 3/8 ounce. That was my deal.
And speaking of the Thunder Cricket, what do you have, Jason?
Let's take a look at some of the baits the guys are using on the water this week. Fresh off the shelf, just released. I think it's released today. The Thunder Cricket. Take a look at that. So we got a bladed swim jig here. It's got an awesome, I think, I'll call it my way, a dual keeper system. So you've got a keeper here, and then you've got a little hook keeper there. Your trailer's not going anywhere. That hook, super strong hook, great line tie. This is going to be the deal. Hope the guys are wearing them out on this week.
Chris Zaldain was the big story of day 2. With 21 pounds, 12 ounces, he vaulted from way back in the pack to put pressure on the new leader, Jacob Wheeler, who has 32.6 over 2 days of competition. This thing was supposed to get tougher every day, not better, man. What happened?
I think actually the cold might help the bite a little bit on some people's deal. I think that it pushed some of the fish back that were acting like, hey, you know, they wanted to go further and try to start spawning. Some of those fish started to realize, hey, look, this ain't going to be the day. This ain't going to be the week. We might need to back out. And so I think that ended up happening, and some of the guys ended up pulling up on the right stretches at the right time and catching some of the bigger fish.
Are we feeling nerves or excitement tomorrow going into the final day?
Man, excitement. You know, obviously my buddy right now, Mark Daniels Jr., is leading the tournament. You know, I should be close to where he's at, and Ott Defoe is a good buddy of mine. So realistically, if there's 3 guys that I would love to see win, you know, 2 other guys I'd love to see win other than myself would be Mark or Ott. You know, those are my buddies. So it's going to be a fun day regardless. One of us is going to have to catch him, and you just ultimately just have to try to put together another bag like I did today.
The Progressive Bass Wrap-Up Show, brought to you by Sportsman's Warehouse, is sponsored by Minn Kota, by Humminbird, by Navionics, and by Gemini Fishing Apparel.
Folks, here we are. Day 3, the final day, 2019 Bassmaster Classic, 49th edition of this bad boy, and we got Chris Zaldain over our shoulders. He had that big bag, 21 pounds, 12 ounces yesterday, to vault from way back in the pack.
Well, he's definitely catching the right bass to get it done. You know, had 21 pounds yesterday. First day was a little bit of a struggle for him. Only caught 4 keeper bass, so that's going to kind of set the storyline. Is that going to come back and bite him, you know? But we talked about yesterday. It's all about making those key adjustments, and yesterday it looks like he made the right one, obviously, with bringing in that 21-pound bag, the largest of the day. He can get that done again today. I think we're going to have ourselves a new winner.
Brad Zaldain's chunking that big old piece of plastic out there. It almost looks odd on this lake, doesn't it, to see somebody do that here?
Well, you know, a couple of years ago it would have been. It's kind of that West Coast impression with bringing in the big swim bait stuff. And then what makes it so effective on the Tennessee River is one thing, and it's big gizzard shad. These big bass find big gizzard shad, and what's happening in the afternoons, the sun is heating these rocks up and getting the banks warmer. It's going to activate the gizzard shad. They're going to get more active shallowing. The big bass are following them up and eating them. I think yesterday afternoon was a little bit better for Chris. I think after 10 o'clock he said that he was starting to actually see those big shad in the water, and that's when he started catching those big bass.
See Zaldane making a move here. This might be a good time to make a move down to the expo and see what our buddy Jason Duran's into.
Let's see what Jason's got going on.
All right, guys, thanks. We are still at the expo. We have been here every day, and the crowds just keep getting bigger and bigger. Walking this red carpet's what it's all about. And you've seen the guys out on the water talking a lot about reaction baits. One of those baits that comes to mind is the KVD 1.5 square bill. This is in Delta Red. Just my favorite. Doesn't have to be your favorite, but you need to learn a lot about it. And as Brad and those guys have been talking about those reaction baits, this is the kind of thing that just gets in front of their face, gets that reaction strike that we're looking for. You may have fish come from a long ways to find this thing, but you can also get right up on them and catch them. So let's go watch them catch a couple more today.
Jason, you're right. Red has been a hot color. A lot of guys are throwing red crankbaits, and a lot of guys are working out on that main river. Brad, we found a guy doing something a little bit different.
Yeah, we were just caught up with unofficial leader Mike Iaconelli. He's catching one every cast on a DT6. And the thing that's a little bit different about what Mike Iaconelli's doing is he's away from the main lake. Everybody the first couple of days has been either on the main river or just off of it in a small pocket. And Iaconelli is in a creek, and not only is in the main creek arm, he's found a little back area, a backwater spot off of the creek. And the key here is several things. Obviously, he's found big ones moving into this, but he's able to manage the area. And it's a little small opening, and he's back through the little gap here. And he's, again, catching one about every throw. And it's similar to what we saw Kevin Van Dam do at Lay Lake. You know, spectator boats are going to be outside of the bridge area, so they're not going to be able to get in there and stir it up. Don't have to worry about traffic blowing the water out, muddying it up. So it could be the perfect combination and the perfect storm if you can just get a hold of the right bites and keep this thing going. We might have us a champion of Mike Iaconelli.
Of course, we all know that Championship Sunday comes down to the top 25, then the Super 6, and then there were 2.
He started the day with 32 pounds, 6 ounces, looking for 16-14, 12 pounds, 15 ounces, 12 pounds, 15 ounces, and your Bassmaster Classic champion is
Well, congratulations to Odd Defoe, a great friend of mine. We couldn't have a better classic champion. He's going to represent the sport well in 2019. Super fired up for his family. Unbelievable week here in Knoxville, Tennessee. What else can I say? Congratulations, Odd Defoe.
John, Chris, back to you. Chris, another great tournament. Yep. Record crowds, tremendous event here in Knoxville. It was a great host. What's your take?
I think it was a great weekend. Knoxville was a great host. Huge crowd, record numbers of people, expo, weigh in, the whole 9 yards. Super excited about this event, and congratulations to the winner.
Yeah, and hey, thanks to all our partners like Sportsman's Warehouse.
Absolutely.
To let us hang out at their booth. We appreciate that, and look forward to 2020.
That's right, that's right. You guys make sure you log on, anglerschannel.com. Follow us there. All for tournament results, calendars, podcasts, you name it. anglerschannel.com, your #1 tournament resource.
Promotional consideration provided by Ed Watkins Marine, by Carhartt, Bass Mafia, Buckeye Lures, Collins Boating, and by Trickstep. Produced by anglerschannel.com.